it again! I did it again.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh, yes. You're doing that.
No!
It's sleep mode.
It actually overheated itself in sleep mode. This is how broken sleep mode is in Windows.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the iTunes Fanboy podcast. As always, I am Teddy Maggert from the iTunes Fanboy.
My name is DeWolf.
And unfortunately, TabCat 406 or Tab Pairs was once again not unavailable because he has COVID-19 right now. So even though he'll probably be better by the time we're done record, by the time this episode is actually out to you guys, we wish the best of luck to him to get better. So, but without further ado, me and Alpha still have a ton of news to talk about, so we should just go ahead and get started with our first topic, which I saw Alpha's video on, by the way, which is about the iPhone 15 Wonderlust keynote being announced for September 12th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And Vicho's rumored iPhone 15 Pro colors. Can you hear me?
I think so.
Did you get all that?
I got chunks of it.
Okay, so this is basically about the iPhone 15 keynote being announced.
Oh, that. Okay. Yeah, I just released that video today. How convenient.
I know that you're not excited for the keynote, but I personally am pretty excited because I know just having 128 gigabytes of storage when I could probably just buy more iCloud storage. I know that's not enough of an excuse to upgrade to the 15 Pro, but it looks tempting.
You don't need it right now, I promise you that. You just need to manage the storage you have better.
I am managing it the best I can. Like, I already deleted unused videos on it, so now I'm down to 80 gigabytes instead of 100 gigabytes. So I am getting better, but right now it is getting better, but right now I'm just having trouble managing the storage, though. Supposedly, if I could get maybe if I'm able to just delete unused videos, maybe that'll help stagnate it to the point where I might be able to hold off the upgrade until the 16.
You say that it's mostly photos that takes up your phone?
Yeah, and I've already gone through them and delete ones I don't need.
Okay, I need to ask, can you change the microphone that Discord is using? Because it's just not working today. I'm sorry. It's currently using your AirPods microphone. Is there a way you can change it to either your MacBooks or the other microphone you use? The Snowball, I think?
No, I don't use that, but okay, I changed it to my MacBook's microphone.
Okay, that sounds way better, actually.
Your audio sounds a little better too, for some reason.
I don't remember what mic am I using through here. Input MacBook Pro microphone. Did OBS change on me? No, that's also MacBook microphone.
Okay, so I gotta say that looks tempting, but unfortunately, I guess moving on to the next topic one of the next topics that there's small potential for a new iPad Air coming out at that event, which really kind of makes me mad because this means that my AirPods, crap, I need to plug them back in. my iPad, my iPhone, and now my iPad are no longer going to be the latest after this event.
Well, who needs the latest iPad anymore nowadays, considering what they're capable of?
I know I don't need the latest iPad, but
like I'd say for what we do with them, even like don't even get last year's iPad. Get the previous year's iPad. The hardware is way too. It's too good. It doesn't match up to the software's capability. Yeah, my church has a iPad from. When did it come out?
What iPad is it?
It's the iPad 7, I think, or something.
2019.
Yeah, the church has an iPad 7. Functions perfectly fine. In fact, we can do a lot more on that thing to the point where basically, aside from the gesture system on the Air and all that, there's basically no difference. They feel like they have the exact same capabilities.
Even the 7 has... Actually, all iPads from iOS 12 and later have the gesture system.
Oh, right. It's true. It's just they don't show the nav... They just don't show the nav bar in the apps.
Yeah, they have it.
I forgot. That was one of the weird things about iOS 12. It brought gestures to the iPads, despite that the majority of them had the home button at the time.
Actually, all iPads had the home button when iOS 12 first released.
Oh, I suppose it was a month before the iPad Pro was announced.
Yep.
I thought that was initially a bug, but I guess they made that a feature because it's stuck around ever since.
Yeah, but... Well, your church is lucky that their iPad 7 has kept working since... mine, it works. It works and it turns on, but it does not work fully, which is why I had to get a new iPad.
Yeah, to me, it's an absolute shame, though, because I have a laptop-grade processor in this iPad, but yet the iPad 7 from 4 years ago is holding up almost to the exact same level this has in terms of capabilities and performance. Does that sound right to you?
In my experience, the iPad Air 5 is actually faster than my iPad 7.
Yeah, I don't know how that's the case because mine keeps overheating.
Yours might not be quite right because mine never overheats.
That is just weird because like the one that I had before the one that got the cracked screen and I sent to Apple, that had overheating issues, and this is a completely different one. They sent me a new iPad just in a Apple Care box or something like that, not the brand new you just bought an iPad experience box. And yet this also has the exact same issues. It overheats.
Huh. Sometime I need to try out Flow Free to see if that causes it to overheat. But is there anything else that causes your iPad to overheat?
There was another... There was something hilarious I found. There was another... In terms of simplicity, it's very simple. What did they call it? It's some game where you spin this helix and you got to get this ball through the tiny little slots. I don't remember what the game's called. But I don't know if it's... I'd be surprised if this is the case, but if somehow the iPad is overheating because it can't figure out, twist this helix around and depending on where it's positioned, ball slips through. Okay. That doesn't sound very complex, does it?
No, it's not. I'm sure the iPad 1 could run that, and I know the iPad 1 can run Flow Free too.
My iPad Air... No, not Air. My iPad 4, that's what it is. That could run it just fine. The one thing that was weird about that game is I'm wondering if it is so ad-ridden to the point where you're in the middle of playing the game and they'll just put an audio ad in the background and you can't skip it. Oh,
that would explain it, since if you have to take so for that game, at least that would make so much sense, because if you have to spend so much time loading ads, then of course it's gonna hog up all the resources and make the iPad overheat.
That's my guess for that one game, but I'm not entirely sure about Flow Free, because the only time the ads play, when they play, it doesn't actually start loading the ad until you hit okay, next level. Then it starts loading the ad. So I am so confused on that aspect, but it'll still overheat and Flow Free. On a device with a laptop grade processor.
Oh jeez.
How does that make any sense?
I don't know. Oh, and the iPad Air 6 would be getting an M2 chip if it does come out when it comes out.
Guys, don't even buy it. Just don't.
What if you need a new iPad?
Buy last year's. Buy certified refurbished.
Nah.
I don't want to give Apple money for coming out with these. If this is how they're going to treat the iPads, I don't want to give them $500, $600 for these. $1,000 for these.
Apple's certified refurbished store sucks. They never keep any specific devices on sale to the point where you might as well just go on eBay. And of course, eBay. You know why you shouldn't go on eBay.
Well, try Amazon then. Best Buy. There's other places too.
Amazon's about literally the same as eBay. Best Buy refurbished devices are so terrible, or at least in Tabby Paris' experience, they are.
Well, I've also known people who have had terrible experiences with Apple certified refurbished or even getting brand new stuff as well. So it's a run-of-the-mill with everyone. I think Tabby has this curse on him where every time he gets a tech product, the tech product breaks. No offense, Tabby, but this is really starting to sound like it.
To be fair, Alpha, you seem to have that To be fair, Alpha, maybe you have that curse of your AirPods and now your iPad.
Yes, I know I'm cursed with my AirPods, except for these. These are amazing. I love my AirPods Max.
Yeah. And your AirPods Pro 2, the transparency mode going out that's a far more common issue.
Yeah, from the sounds of it. And finally, I got an explanation as to why. And, as much as I really don't want to, I think I might be buying something from this upcoming Apple event, depending on if they release it or not.
Oh boy. You're going to have better AirPods than me. Oh no.
They're probably still going to be AirPods Pro 2, just a new charging case, which, from what I hear, they're going to make available online. Like, you can buy the charging case online or something like that.
That's cool.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, the only reason why I'd have to do it again is because... yeah, I guess what stopped working. I can't win with those things. And yeah, I depend on them so much.
One of my friends actually, his AirPod, I've mentioned this before, but his AirPods Pro 2, the new transparency mode went out on them, so he took them to the Apple store to get them fixed. And then it went out around a week, and then it broke again a week later.
Yeah.
You're lucky that yours only breaks every few months. Try just a week. It's not every 6, as I've mentioned to you so many times.
It averages out to 6 months.
Yeah. Well, rather than arguing about the number of months, let's move on to our next topic, which is that the iPhone 15 Pro box is going to be white again, just like the 14 Pro box, and it will show the letter S somehow.
S? That's... what's the significance of the S? It's going to be called the 15, not the 14S, right?
To be fair, it is a rumor, and that might just be like the design of the wallpaper. You know how it might look sort of like an S, but it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to describe than it is to actually see the mock-ups, and it is just a rumor, so it should be taken with a grain of salt.
Maybe more of a mountain instead of a grain. Yeah, it seems like Apple's really trying to deliver the salt. I mean, look at the logo for the Apple event cover. All powdery and dusty and...
That is true, and it's in the 15 Pro colors, which... Oh, man, I really like those colors, to be honest.
I'm sure... Is it a... I see a blue, and what is that other color? It looks like a gold to me. But they're getting rid of gold.
Nope, they're getting rid of gold, but there's going to be blue, titanium gray, space black, and silver.
So basically blue, gray, gray, and gray.
Exactly what my mom says.
You know, I think Justin Long was onto something during those Intel ads.
Yep, to be fair, with most PCs, it's black, 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 and black.
Yeah.
Those are color options.
Well, actually, now they're mostly gray, 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 and gray for the most part.
Yeah, and some blacks in there. Well, too bad Sony doesn't make Vios anymore. That they actually used to have many colorful Vios.
Why is everyone against colorful laptops? Why is everyone against colorful products?
Why is the iBook clamshell the only... Did Apple not make a colorful laptop since the iBook clamshell?
It's fun.
I want a colorful
it's
MacBook,
expressive.
but I don't think I can... I want a colorful MacBook, but I can't depend on my... I want a colorful laptop, but I can't use my iBook clamshell because it's a little too old.
I'd sell my MacBook Pro if Apple were to release a gold version. I keep telling them that.
I want a blue MacBook Pro.
You know, I'd have to debate that one because gold and blue are some... Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one for me.
Why not both?
I'd have to get rid of the XPS and get a different colored XPS if they offered it in a different color.
Or if they released a new MacBook Pro. What? How about a jet black MacBook Pro?
Nope. Nope, when it comes to my color preferences, I'm white over black.
Yeah, I'm usually lighter over darker unless it's pure jet black.
I don't even like jet black.
I do. I really want to get a jet black. When I look for a 7 Plus, I really want to get a jet black one. They're a little harder to find than the other colors.
That and how are you going to find one in relatively nice condition because they were easily scratchable finishes.
I honestly don't care if they're in that good condition or not. I just want a jet black iPhone.
My aunt used to have one.
And I'm glad Apple brought sort of back with the space black iPhone 14 Pro and now 15 Pro. Because when I was buying my iPhone 14 Pro, I wanted either the space black or the deep purple.
Didn't you just get the gold?
Yeah, I did get gold because that was the only color they had in stock, though. I guess that's not too insignificant now since it's the last gold iPhone, so...
True. I am so mad they got rid of that.
I'm personally mad that Apple got rid of that, but not too mad since they're at least having a nice blue. But
I'm still mad they got rid of the gold MacBook Air. It was beautiful.
No, they didn't. Apple sells a gold MacBook Air.
Well, the redesign when they redesigned it for the M2, it's not in gold anymore.
Yes, it is.
It's Starlight. It's not real gold.
Let me look.
They advertise it as Starlight. That's not real gold. It's embarrassed gold.
That's true. Oh.
Jeez, I hate
Okay,
their
I hate
color
Starlight.
selection.
That's
They're
interesting.
embarrassed to be the colors that they are. Almost every single time. It's like the only color
I
they
guess
produce
you
that's
don't-
not embarrassed to be its color is product red.
And even then, they're getting rid of the product red iPhone 15.
See, Apple's embarrassed about colors for some reason. Why?
Oh, and speaking of embarrassment of colors, I guess we need to cover this topic next since it flows perfectly. The iPhone 15 colors are actually, the rumors have changed once again to the point where there will be a pastel pink, pastel yellow, pastel green, pastel blue, and white.
Apple, there are some things you do that drive me nuts. This be one of them!
You don't have to tell me that sucks.
You know, they try to market their stuff as fun and personal and all that, but they're too embarrassed to do one of the most basic things in making it fun and personal. Why are they this embarrassed about it?
I don't know, but
It's not like these colors are hard to produce.
It really isn't.
I don't get it, Apple. I just don't.
Moving on to our next happier topic. The iPhone 15 Pro included charging cable is going to be black. It will support USB 4 Generation 2 speeds. And it will support up to 150 watt charging. And it will also be braided like on the standard 15s.
Just the cable or the phone itself?
Cable.
Wow. Okay,
They're
USB 4
not gonna braid
speeds?
Yep.
Oh gosh. To be shipping
I
that
really
high
was-
end of a cable in the box, that... I mean, it's been rumored, but do you really think they're going to put a Thunderbolt port on the iPhone?
It's possible. As if they're going to put USB-C on the iPhone, they have to do it the right way.
I mean, true. This is Apple we're talking about.
So, this is why the 15 Pro looks way too tempting.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the phone itself is not going to support 150 watt charging.
Yeah, that seems like a little bit of a fishy rumor, but that's supposedly it, but...
The cable doing it,
Knowing
that makes
Apple's-
sense. But the phone itself doing it, I doubt it. Especially knowing Apple's history with charging devices.
Yeah, that rumor I would take with a mountain of salt.
But yeah, they're shipping this capable of a cable in the box. They've got to be up to something.
Justifies the price hike.
Don't remind me. I forgot to mention that in my video, actually. Oh, goodness. I was so upset about... Now all the iPhones are getting the dynamic island, and... what else? The bringer switch is going away. The color selections become grayer and grayer. I hope this thing has USB-C.
It's the superior ports, and that could change your opinion.
Yeah, the thing is, though, they don't have to do it this year. They technically don't have to do it this year.
They don't, but they might want to just because they still will sell the standard 15s when the EU regulations go into play, so they might want to just for that reason.
I wonder, do you think Apple would be crazy enough to limit USB-C only to the 15 Pros and still give us Lightning with the 15s? because they're still reported to have USB 2.0 speeds. And again, this isn't required until next year.
They could get away with it on the standard models.
They could technically get away with this on the standard models.
Oh no, Apple, don't you dare. You already took the latest chip away.
They've pulled fast ones on us like this before. I actually think it's not an improbability that this might happen.
Oh boy. If this winds up maybe by the time this episode releases it'll be all confirmed rumor, like, okay, it'll only be on the 15 Pro. Only the 15 Pros will have USB-C.
Well, nothing's confirmed until Apple gets on stage, but oh boy, I just thought of that theory because they don't have to do it this year.
Not only to mention that, but basically all Apple wants to do is just make the 14 Pro more appealing with the 15. That's all they're doing. And that makes me so sad that Apple's basically just making the new standard iPhones just basically like the previous year's Pro iPhones.
Yeah, they now become basically like iPhone S. It's like the iPhone 8 to the iPhone 10.
Yeah, or even worse, it's like the iPhone 7 Plus to the 10.
Oh, that was yeah, that was an unfortunate upgrade for those who don't upgrade their phone every year. But, oh jeez. And the reason why I'm coming up with ideas like this is because I'm trying to tamper expectations. Otherwise...
I understand.
Because
hype becomes high.
Yeah, once we get all hyped up, then our expectations rise to that level, and when they don't deliver on them, then we're all disappointed, and we're all mad at Apple. I'm just trying to keep them real low, and so that way I can muster some excitement when the event actually happens.
Yeah, is what happens when Apple... Yeah, because remember the Apple Watch Series 7?
Oh, I know some people who wanted the Series 7 because of the squared-off leak design, and they were absolutely killed by the fact that it was still rounded.
Apple, I just want a rounded iPhone again.
Same. I've hated the square design ever since it was even concepted.
I initially really loved the square-off design when it came back on the 12. I initially really liked it because I thought, okay, this is actually a pretty cool design. But over time, by the time 13s were current, I'm like, no, I want curved edges back.
If I'm being honest, I don't like the squared-off design on the iPhone 4s and 5s.
I never liked that either.
I know that's another hot take, which I seem to have a good streak of them at the moment, but I don't think it works on those phones, even though they're smaller. I still find them uncomfortable to hold because of those edges.
They're also hard aluminum or stainless steel, so they're even more uncomfortable in a sense.
Yeah. Rounded is truly the way to go. I did it again! I did it again.
That's a reference to Alpha's latest video, by the way, when he turned on the flashlight on his 10s Max accidentally.
I turned it on accidentally twice, and now I did it again. Oh, Steve Jobs is playing with me. The ghost of Steve Jobs is playing with me.
Well, speaking of Steve Jobs, you do not have to worry about iPhones not remaining rounded, remaining boxy for much longer because if you remember how the cycle of iPhone design works, it goes curved, boxy,
Yep.
curved, and then boxy.
Yep.
Wonder what Apple's gonna make the edges of the iPhone next. It's a mystery.
Yeah, the supposed rumors is they're going to do a mixture between the two, but I just want full rounded back.
So do I.
I'm done with the box. I've always been done with the box. And now at this point, I'm just angered that it's still around. I'm also angered that they still kept this horrible mess on the back.
It looks so, like, why can't they just make the whole camera lens at the same height? No, make the camera bump a little bigger, but if the camera bump's getting big already...
I just wish they put it in a straight line or something. Like, I gotta be honest. Aside from Samsung's Galaxy Ultra series, the S23, S23 Plus and all that, I think they have a much better camera bump design than this. Until you go for the Ultra. Then the Ultra turns it back into a mess again.
I sort of agree with that, though not fully.
I mean, is it perfect? No. And I will definitely say that it is not perfect. My opinion, best Samsung phone design ever was the S10 series.
Oh man, I love those. I love my S10. My S10 Plus is such a good phone, even though I rarely use it.
Gosh, I miss the days when Samsung was actually unique and when they were special.
Yeah, now Samsung, the only thing that they're doing that's unique now, which isn't even unique now Google's in the space, is foldable phones.
Yeah, come on, Samsung. Why did you have to drop the ball? You were doing so well. And then you just drop the ball? Yeah, Google actually picked it up, which I was very shocked to see. Because we've seen the first few Pixels, and they would have gotten my top votes for worst smartphones in history.
Yeah.
Charging $900
Samsung
and what?
Samsung screwed up so much to the point where at my school, you either have an iPhone or else you don't, or you either have an iPhone or else most of the kids, if they don't have iPhone, if they use Android, they don't even have Samsungs anymore. They most of the time use TCLs from, at least I think they're TCLs.
I've seen a big decrease in Androids in the area, actually, which I find very shocking.
I've lived in an area that's always been at least from what I remember, that has basically been mostly iPhones.
Yeah, for me, the default used to be it was mostly Androids up here. You didn't see. I mean, it was still a fairly healthy mix, but you still saw more Androids than you do iPhones. But now, seeing an Android phone out in the wild, it's starting to become a little infrequent.
Yeah, I would say about maybe 20 to 30% of my school uses Android.
In fact, it's not even Samsung's flagship series when I do see them out. It's their budget, cheapest. I mean, I guess they're trying to go after that market because it's selling way better. I mean, and that type of market is important. I mean, we tech enthusiasts will often focus on the big dogs up top, be it the iPhones or the S series or Google. I guess now we can say Google Pixel because they finally got their crap together. But that's only just one half of the smartphone sector. What about the budget end?
And most of my classmates, from what I can tell, if they have iPhone, a lot of them have iPhones, but most of them have either SEs, 10Rs, and 11s.
Yeah, I bet those were hand-me-down phones from their parents because they couldn't buy their own.
the 10Rs and 11s. Well, I know one of my classmates. I'm sure his phone was probably a hand-me-down, but I don't know about. But I'm sure a lot of 10Rs and 11s are probably hand-me-downs. The SEs were probably bought brand new.
Yeah, those have to be the case.
They were cheap.
No, I would never. If I were to hand a phone down to my future kids, it would never be an SE, and the reason for that is because by the time parents would get rid of that, they're pretty freaking useless at that point. Because the battery's going to be so degraded, and it's not going to work well, especially when basically anyone who's younger than me that I know, they are so bad at charging their devices. In fact, I finally understand how my sister keeps killing the batteries in all of her devices.
Because she doesn't charge them frequently?
She completely depletes them to the point where they die.
Oh, geez.
And then she'll go days without charging it. That is
she
like
just
one of
our phone?
No, I'm talking about her iPod, for example. Her iPod, she completely destroyed the battery just because she never charged the thing.
Did it go down to 0%? Does it work still?
No, I don't think it does anymore. She completely destroyed it by depleting it and never getting enough charge in it. Yeah, you want to talk about battery health tips? Here's a free one for you. Do not let your phone die like that, and if it does, get it on the charger as fast as you can. Because that is when maximum degradation is going to happen, right then and there. Yeah,
for example, on my iPod Touch 5th generation, which nowadays has a battery life has the battery of a potato, when I stopped using it frequently and it went flat as a result, the battery life started decreasing. Yeah, when I stopped using it as one of my main devices back in April of 2019, I noticed by 2020 that its battery had really started to get shot, and nowadays its battery doesn't even last an hour.
Yeah, and that's because they sit dead like that. And I first learned about this tip from electric cars. It's okay to get them down low, but once it gets down, you got to get that thing plugged in, or you're going to start to see massive degradation.
That's why even for my collection phones and devices, I always power them off so that way they can keep their batteries charged for longer.
So well, they're still going to lose charge over time like that.
They'll still lose charge over time, of course, but it helps them keep charged for longer, and also because if I don't want to have a cabinet constantly ringing with notifications.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I've recently pulled my iPod Nano out, and I wonder what it's charged up to because I unplugged it at 100% a few days ago. Because I want to see how much degradation's on this. Ooh! Literally almost dead!
Sounds like you gotta charge it.
Something tells me I do, yeah. So I probably destroyed the battery on this thing already because I haven't turned that thing on in over a year. And the only way I could turn it on was by plugging it in.
Because the power button's shot.
I must have killed the battery in that, but yeah. Whew.
The power button doesn't work, though.
Oh, it works. The power button works. It's just I couldn't turn it on because there was no charge in it.
Oh.
Not even a drop of juice. I had to plug it in to turn that thing on.
At least with iPod Nanos, you can do... At least with iPod Nanos Classics and Classics, you can just turn them on via plugging them in, because at least then the battery goes to the motherboard first instead of the battery, whereas on iPod Touches, iPhones, and iPod Pads, that's not the case, which really annoys me.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I think it has something to do with the BMS being on the motherboard instead of within the connector of the battery.
Yeah, that would be the case, since iPods Classics especially have more room to put the BMS outside. But the iPod Nanos have solid down batteries, though. So it'd be solder direct. So they're solder directly to the logic port anyway.
That might explain why the BMS is located directly on the motherboard.
So it'd have to be located directly on the motherboard on the Nanos, but you can still turn those on.
Yeah.
With just plugging them in, unless they're completely dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mystery. If anybody knows why that could be, please comment them down below, because I'm actually curious now.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of studying on batteries.
So I guess we should get on to our next podcast topic, which is that the iPhone 15 Pro Max is going to potentially become the iPhone 15 Ultra.
I think it's better branding, because Pro Max...
I honestly think it is... Yeah, Pro Max is just... When I stopped caring a lot about iPhone 11 rumors, I just assumed the iPhone 11, what became the iPhone 11 Pro Max, was just going to be called the iPhone 11 Pro. And the iPhone 11 Pro would just be called the 11, and that the iPhone 11, standard iPhone 11 would be called the 11R.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that would be the same, because honestly, the best name that actually works with the Max branding... Tennis Max.
I think hold up. I think Apple could still do that with the... Hold up. I just got an idea. What if instead for the Pro models they call the iPhone 14 and 14 Plus the 14S and 14S Plus or 14S Plus or 14S Max, and then call the standard 15 Pro just the 15, and then call the 15 Pro Max or Ultra in this case 15 Pro. That would streamline things a lot more, because it would help people understand that, okay, this is not the same. The 15 and the 15 Pro are not the same phone.
I'd say a rebrand of the whole lineup wouldn't be the worst idea, but just Pro Max never really rolled off the tongue that well.
No, I've always hated that too, and as Sam Cole said in his video when he covered this is the year to do it, because the 15 Pro Max, or Ultra in this case, will be getting the periscope zoom lens, while the standard Pro won't, so there will be a differentiation of features, so this is the year to do it.
Yeah, I can see where he's coming from.
Alright, well, getting back onto more iPhone 15 news. The iPhone 15 Pro and Ultra are now doing mass shipping to Apple.
Exciting! Who's going to be the first employee to break into the box and leak pictures to John Prosser? I'm joking, that's not going to happen.
They might, though, if they're sneaky.
Yeah, John Prosser, though, I mean, he was great back in the 2020s. Great with the leaks. Back in the whole turmoil between him and Mac rumors, I fully supported John Prosser, because most of the time when he's talking about stuff, he's not being silly. Well, funny to say that, because if you watch his channel... when he's actually talking about leaks and information he's serious about the information. And
yeah, he's very good at finding information.
That, and when he makes predictions, he's one of the most reasonable people out there.
Like, he's even stated that the Apple Vision Pro has a suspicious problem, where Apple employees don't seem to be too excited about the Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah.
Their mood was off. Which, in case you don't remember... Now, do you remember Steve Jobs' mood when he announced the iTunes phone?
He was not impressed with the device. Didn't he call it trash on stage?
No, he didn't call it trash on stage, but he just announced it in a monotone voice.
Yeah, you could tell he was not excited for that. And how did it do?
Poorly. The Apple Vision Pro, I will say, it does have a chance, but the fact that the Apple employees just didn't seem all that excited about that.
Yeah, that being excited about your own product on stage makes a big difference, because if you're excited about your product, that means, okay, this guy's got something.
Yeah, this is... Talos of Tech pointed out that there was once John Prosser published his video about that, or from FGT, that there might have been no demos just because you can't really demo that on stage, but that still doesn't explain the employee's mood.
Yeah, it's making me nervous even, because I know firsthand, if the people who are presenting this to you aren't even that excited about it, that means this probably isn't going to go anywhere. We've seen it happen way too many times in way too many industries, and this be another instance of that. So we've seen how excited Steve was when he announced the original iPhone and various other products, and how did they do?
So very well.
Oh yeah, when he was excited about it, it's because he knew they got something. And they got something good. So, just another one of the many reasons.
Steve Jobs' monotone voice, he kind of stated... I think Steve Jobs stated in a more monotone voice when he announced that Internet Explorer would become the default web browser for Macs.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet he wasn't excited about that.
He even stated at the event, but you'll still be able to use other web browsers, meaning that he wasn't excited, because even the people at the time booed. Even people back then booed Internet Explorer.
I don't miss that browser.
Neither do I.
Yeah, for me, it's always Firefox.
I prefer Safari.
I mean, yeah, I use Safari, and I prefer Safari now, but if I don't have Safari available to me, then second in line is Firefox.
I use Chrome just because it ties in with my Google account very well. And because it's very fast at uploading YouTube videos. Otherwise, I use Safari.
Yeah, so do you use two web browsers on your Mac and iPad?
On my iPad, on my phone and iPad, I always use Safari, but on my Mac, yes, I use two web browsers.
So how do you divide them up? Because I actually have three web browsers on my Mac.
Okay, so Safari is... So for Chrome, I only use for uploading stuff. That's literally it. And then Safari I use for everything else.
So for me, I have three web browsers on my Mac. Safari, obviously.
Right.
Firefox, I used that back when I was in school, but I've never deleted the web browser because, well, I still love Firefox, if I'm being honest. That, and for whatever reason, I need to log in with separate accounts, but I don't want to have to, well, go back and forth between sign into this on Google and all that. No, it's nice and convenient to have a separate web browser with all your other account information rather than just having to constantly sign out and sign back in.
What's the third browser?
Oh, right. Chrome. But I literally only use that web browser just for managing church stuff like live streams, and that's basically it. Chrome goes basically almost unused on the Mac. Like, last time I've opened it was... I don't even remember. It wasn't recent.
That's pretty obvious, though.
Yeah, I usually try to go hardcore on one web browser at a time. But so yeah, for the most part, for me, if I'm on any of Apple's platforms, it's Safari. If I'm on my XPS, oh, it is definitely Firefox. I hate Edge so much.
So do I. Alright, getting back onto the next podcast topic. The iPhone 15 Pro is going to potentially have a smaller dynamic island.
Can we please just get a dynamic peninsula?
I hate the dynamic peninsula idea so much because it does not look good with the notch.
I would think it would look much better. Like, has somebody at least made a concept of it?
Yeah, I like the look of the dynamic island so much more.
Yeah, I keep picturing dynamic peninsula, and to me it just looks better.
Yeah, but the dynamic island is getting smaller, or sinking, as Talos of Tech referred to it as.
I wish it was already sunk.
I want an under-display front camera too.
Yeah, for me, the dream smartphone ever was... Like, I don't actually think I want under-display camera, if I'm being honest.
If they can get the quality the same, then I want that.
I mean, yeah, if they actually can get the quality to be the same as not under-display, then, yeah, definitely I'll take under-display, but... To me, I don't know how you're going to be able to get that unless you can fuse the camera sensors with the display.
Maybe Apple might be working on that.
Who knows? That to me, that is the only way you could possibly get it. And then you need software to filter out the display colors when you do actually use that. But yeah, to me, that is the only way you could probably properly integrate a camera in the display. You have to find a way to fuse the camera sensor with the screen pixels all into one panel. But because that, at the moment, is not today's technology, sorry, notch is the way to go.
No, it is not. Alright, getting on to the next podcast topic. Apple's working on a new iPad Pro for early 2024 with new 11 and 13-inch organic LED displays, an M3 processor, and a redesigned keyboard with a larger trackpad.
For the iPad Pros?
Yep.
Don't buy them, everyone! They're not worth it! I promise ya!
They might be.
Just buy a Mac instead! Or a budget iPad.
What if you want a big iPad, though?
iPad Pro 2018.
What if you want a big iPad that's not old enough to go that's not almost going to be old enough to go to kindergarten next year?
It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you care that much to the point where you're willing to drop that type of money anyways, then fine. But in terms of actually doing stuff with it, I can't recommend it to you guys. I can't do it. I just can't. It's not a professional device. It's branded as Pro, but it is not a Pro device. Under any stretch of the imagination.
It can do professional grade things when your Mac is behind, but it's that way you can leave your Mac behind. But if you still want your Mac, then you can use it.
Most people buy MacBooks, which means they can take them with them.
Yeah, but iPads are still more portable than MacBooks.
Not by that much.
My iPad Air is so much lighter than my MacBook Pro. And it's so much easier to carry around with me.
These type of people who would buy iPad Pros to replace their MacBooks, they'd also get the Magic Keyboard, which thickens things up and adds extra weight to it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, I don't see why the iPad Pro is useful to anyone at this point, especially with what Apple has shown us and what they're willing to allow the iPad Pro to do. I just cannot tell pros to buy it. It makes no sense. It's a waste of money.
Yeah, the reason why I actually avoid the 12.9-inch iPad Pro to counterpart that what I previously stated is that because not only is it too expensive, but it's also too big and bulky. So, okay, I get it with the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. Like, okay, maybe then you should just buy a nice MacBook.
Yeah, I'd have to say the same. And the thing is, someone like me, I love big screen everything. And I really wanted that 12.9-inch iPad Pro. But it is not worth $1,000. It is legit not worth $1,000 with what it's capable of.
Wait a minute, isn't it $1,100 now?
True. You compare that directly to a MacBook Air. The MacBook Air is going to beat it in... The only category I think it won't beat it in is biometrics, and that's it.
Yeah, but $1,099 for a 12.9-inch 12 9/10 iPad Pro.
How much does the 13-inch MacBook Air cost? The same?
For the newest model, just 100. The same, yes.
Oh!
For the latest one.
And one of them you can edit videos professionally on.
Yeah, without a supposedly professional grade video editor that doesn't even have sound effects or voiceovers.
And you can actually properly mix music because you have the I/O to connect to your MIDI keyboard and your mixers and all your other music controls.
All you have to worry about is just making sure you don't overheat your MacBook too much since there's no fan. But the iPad doesn't have a fan either, so...
In fact, the iPad, I mean, with my experience, it overheats doing that type of stuff. In fact, technically, the iPads have worse cooling than the MacBook Air, despite that the MacBook Air is fanless.
iPads don't even have fans either, to be fair.
But they're smaller devices. The heat's got nowhere to go compared to the MacBook Air.
True.
Just... How is the 12.9-inch iPad Pro worth it? Someone please explain to me. I don't get it.
My mom bought a 2020 iPad Pro, 12.9-inch iPad Pro back in January 2022 because she wanted the biggest iPad just to use with the Apple Pencil, but she didn't spend then $1,000 or $1,099 on the latest iPad Pro.
I wanted to say, wasn't the M1 iPad Pro out at the time?
Yeah.
The big screen, I'm not going to argue against this. The big screen has value, but it is not it is not that much value. It does not have that much value. It's too expensive.
I agree. In fact, on eBay, funny enough, you want to know the worst part of this?
What is it?
Let me look up something on eBay really quickly. A lot of 12.9-inch iPad, a lot of 2015 iPad Pros they've just now started coming down in value to the point where they're now $170, around $170 though.
Oh,
they were previously before
gosh.
even $300 to $400.
Yeah, I think people are really starting to get
iPads,
a kick out of what Apple thinks of the iPads.
To the point where, they're that much for an iPad that's going to be old enough to go into second grade.
They're not worth it, guys. They're not worth it.
And they're not worth that much money because my iPad Air. The reason why I know that it's not much money worth that much more money is because my iPad Air 2, which is a year older than the 2015 iPad Pro, I paid $80 for that thing.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good value, but for the iPad Air 2, but not for the 2015 iPad Pro.
No, it's not.
In fact, I was even looking at 2015 iPad Pros for my collection, and I'm like, they're not worth this price.
No.
Even the iPad Pro 9.7 inches that was sold alongside for the last little bit of its cycle, even they're around $100 now, $120. And the iPad Pro 2017 iPad Pro is around the same price as the 2015 iPad Pro now, the 10.5-inch models.
Yeah, it's the best way I can sum this up. Really is. The iPads may be the best tablets out there,
but tablets aren't that good of a category.
That appears to be the case. A tablet is just not that great of a device compared to a laptop. And the truth is, it could be. If you optimize things right, it could probably be just as capable as a laptop. I'm sure if Final Cut on the iPad had sound effects and voiceover recording and didn't have as many glaring issues as it does, that would probably sway some MacBook buyers to buy the iPad Pro. But it has these issues.
Apple, I think, is just worried about cannibalizing Mac sales, which is why they do this to the iPad.
But to me, that doesn't even make sense, because the way they typically look at trying to design new products, they're looking at what's going to cannibalize this product, actually. What's going to replace this device?
iPad Pro still wouldn't cannibalize the MacBook Air sales, because some people still want the keyboard and trackpad as the default layout.
True.
So it wouldn't cannibalize it.
I'd say they could coexist with each other very nicely, but for whatever reason, Apple feels they can get lazy with the iPad.
My grandmother even saw a news article yesterday about how people are getting mad about iPad, or how tech enthusiasts are getting mad about iPads.
Yeah.
To be fair, tech enthusiasts have never really liked the iPad to begin with, but
true, but they're asking them to literally turn it from a hardware and software perspective. They're basically asking Apple to literally turn it into a laptop. That's not what I'm after. I want to still do professional things in tablet. I still want to do professional things with this device and nothing else attached to it. Why is that hard to ask for? That's what I want. It's not to attach a keyboard to this or a trackpad. No. I want this to do professional things.
And speaking of the iPad lacking features, do you know how my science teacher last year, when they got iPad had 9th generations just to be used then for the whole class, just like to be units like Chromebooks. She even, when one kid asked, okay, how do I find a calculator on this thing? She's like, just go to the calculator on it. And I had to actually tell the kid, no, there's no calculator on iPads.
True. Maybe that's why schools love them so much.
And even my teachers yelled, what? Actually, that might be why schools love iPads so much.
That's got to be the case. Not only because they're cheap, but kids can't cheat on their math tests anymore.
Unless they go to google.com and look up the calculator.
True.
That they could disable Wi-Fi remotely to not do that.
True. Yep.
Oh my... To be fair, schools could just disable calculators for iPads regardless of MDM lock.
True. But still, that doesn't excuse Apple for not putting a calculator app on the device.
Still doesn't, but we figured out one thing anyway. Though, getting back onto more Apple news, the Apple Watch Series 9 is going to potentially offer a pink option to match the iPhone 15. So it seems like Apple is finally starting to get a little bit more consistent with their colors.
Well, I wouldn't buy it.
Neither would I, since I don't really like pink.
Yeah, just last year's Apple Watch was already not for guys, except the Ultra. Just, I keep thinking, what are they going to do this year?
They're supposedly going to put a faster chip in the Apple Watch Series 9.
You mean they're not just going to rebrand the S6 chip again?
No, they'll make it based off the A15 processor.
Oh, finally. We're actually getting a new chip after 2 years of the same one, just rebranded.
In a pink color, in a pink Apple Watch Series 9, which mostly girls are just going to care about.
Wow, I am so excited. I can't wait for this thing to come out, Apple.
Neither can I. I can wait. If I'm upgrading my Apple Watch anytime soon, it'll be to the Ultra 2, just for the battery life.
Yeah.
Though otherwise, wow, Apple. I just hope they bring back a blue Series 9.
Same.
Because I really hated how they killed that off the Series 8.
I wonder when they're going to update the iPad mini, because you know how the iPad mini has the same issue?
They're supposedly going to release a new iPad mini at this event, too.
I hope they give it more than just girly colors, aside from the space gray.
Same here.
Yeah, I was so excited about the device, and then I saw the color options, and I'm like...
I got mad, too.
I'm like, okay, we're the only people working on this. Ladies, which, hey, no offense to ladies, they're amazing, but did they have so much influence over this device to the point where the color options are only for them?
That actually makes me... Sometimes I think that Sometimes I wonder if Apple's purposely being sexist with their color options, because the Pro Series is mostly masculine colors, being the dark blue, the titanium gray, the silver, and the space black, which aren't really any girly colors. But the issue with the Plus models is that they're more pastel light colors like pink, yellow, green, blue, and white, which more girls would go for.
And then we've seen them literally get sexist in the tech of the Series 8.
I should maybe make a dedicated video on how Apple's getting sexist. Though I'm gonna wait until after the event to do that, because I don't want my videos to age like milk based off of rumors, like my video on how iPhones are supported too long, when I based on the theory that the iPhone 8 would get iOS 17.
Oh, I at least wanted the 10s to still get it.
I personally, and as I stated in that video, though, they should have gotten cut off, and I just had this, and the 8 and 10 already didn't get enough features with iOS 16, all the features of iOS 16, so...
But it was still on a buggy software. That's my biggest problem with it. It's still on a buggy software.
iOS 16 is stable for me, though, and besides, Apple could... Sometimes I wonder if Apple leaves some... Because the iPhone 8 sold so well, sometimes... I wonder if they left it on 16 to make people want to buy new phones because of the buggy software.
Yeah, that'd be terrible, because even the person who has usually the most perfect tech experience aside from AirPods Pro and iPad Airs, even I have had iOS 16 bugs on my iPhones.
And even Tabby says that iOS 17 beta has been... Even Tabby Pairs has had a more stable experience of iOS 17 beta than official releases of iOS 16.
Yeah, it's just... To me, it's not right to leave those phones on that buggy of a version of software. That's my biggest gripe about it.
I think they should have been cut off earlier. I think they should have gotten cut off at 14, to be honest.
To me, that still would have been too early.
It'll get people buying new phones, though. I left my iPhone 8 Plus on iOS 14. My iPhone 8 Plus still runs iOS 14. Everything on it works and it works perfectly on iOS 14. It's the perfect speed. The battery life on it is good. But then my 8 on 5th, which runs 15, mind you, has such terrible battery life, and its battery health is at 81%, but I'm wondering if maybe iOS 15 degraded the battery life on the 8 a lot more.
I'm not sure. Though, yeah, that's... it drives me nuts.
Alright, well, getting back on to our next topic. The Apple Pro Display XDR stand is sold out. It's sold out.
So now you're telling me that they're selling a monitor that... Oh, okay, yeah, I know the base mount is a thing. But now they're basically selling a monitor you can't mount?
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh, yes, they're doing that.
No! Oh, no. Oh, gosh.
There's a reason why all other monitors come with free stands.
It doesn't even have to be the highest quality one. Just at least include something. Oh, gosh. No. That's embarrassing. That's real embarrassing.
Seriously, is embarrassing, Apple. Okay, so our last bit of tech news. Well, I guess our second to last bit, since I didn't officially announce the last bit on my last episode, and then we should probably get wrapped up since there's only one piece of auto news, but even then, it's not that. But even then, it doesn't matter that much, and we should keep our podcast episode shorter. But Google and Samsung are supposedly working on an Apple Vision Pro competitor in a project titled Project Muhan.
Google, Samsung, working together?
Yep.
They've hated each other for how long?
According to the Friday checkout, they're doing that.
That almost makes me a little nervous because we've seen what happens when Google and Samsung work together.
We've also seen what happens when Google tries to get into a new space. As we literally saw with Google Glass 10 years ago.
Didn't they try reviving that recently?
Yes, they did, and it failed too because it was just designed for translating languages.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I feel like there's only a handful of things that Google had tried to get into and actually have succeeded. The search engine. They're still my default. Not gonna lie.
Same.
Gmail. Google Drive. I don't use Google Drive as much as I used to, but I still have it. One more. I guess two more. Google Chrome. That's having a lot of success. To the point where most web browsers are based off of code of Google Chrome. And everybody's favorite. YouTube.
Oh yeah. No. Google Maps I would consider up there too because a lot of people still use Google Maps, and I even use Google Maps just for Street View.
Yeah, I'm surprised, but actually I really do not use Google Maps anymore like I used to. Like I think the tables have turned when it comes to the most reliable navigation app.
Yeah, because even my dad's mostly switched now to... Even my dad switched from Waze which is owned by Google, to Apple Maps.
That DC trip I went on, we got lost because of Google Maps. Apple Maps had to save the day. I've gone on gazillions more trips with my mom.
Apple Maps is really good rerouting capabilities.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Apple did a complete 180 compared to when Apple Maps was officially launched.
They sure did. That's why Apple Maps initial launch is why my dad stayed away from Apple Maps for so many years.
Yeah, but now I can safely say the tables have turned. Because now Google Maps, to me, has been completely unreliable. And everyone else I know who uses Google Maps, they're having a ton of issues. It's even failing in Teslas.
Seriously, Google.
Oh dear, that makes me nervous, because when I get my Tesla, that means I'm going to be powered by Google Maps. That's not good.
There's another reason why I wish Teslas had CarPlay.
Same. Be nice if they had the enhanced CarPlay or CarPlay 2.0 or whatever you call it.
Oh, Teslas would be the perfect car for that.
They would. Especially the Model 3 and Model Y, since they have that. Everything's all on that one display.
Oh, yes. Alrighty, well, speaking of big all-in-one displays, I actually have to go get something for our last bit of tech news, which I've announced on my YouTube channel already by now, but I have not announced on this podcast, but I haven't shown on this podcast yet.
Ooh, what is it?
I gotta go out of the room to get it.
Alright. A few minutes later.
Alright, the surprise is my iPad 9th generation.
Oh, that thing!
And iPads. Which, let me just log in really quickly because we have to put a passcode on it.
Yeah, I bet the schools would require something like that.
And, yep, here is the iPad itself.
So, what do you think of going back to a home button iPad again for your schoolwork?
I hate it.
Yeah.
I wish they bought 10th generations or wait till the 11th gen came out.
That'd be more money they'd have to spend.
Yeah, it'd be more money to get a better product.
I suppose we should let them save the money on the iPads, because it doesn't matter which iPad you buy, they're all capable of doing the exact same thing. And they should focus on getting better computers.
Are all screen, though. Oh, I just forgot. I have an iPad with the weather app now, since this iPad runs iPadOS 16.5.1.
Alright, you keep yours on 15.
Yeah, my iPad Air is still 5 is still rocking iPadOS 15.4, which actually I'm wondering if maybe the iPad Air 5 has just gone completely kaput on iPadOS 16, because maybe that's why I'm not having performance issues and you are.
I'm not sure. I mean, you'll have to test the Flow Free game to see what happens.
Yeah, but this iPad, just for reference, is a Space Gray iPad 9th generation, and it's 64 gigabytes. Though I can't take it, and it comes with a Logitech combo keyboard or something like that. It's basically Logitech's answer to the Apple keyboard. With a trackpad, which is nice.
I suppose it's one of the best budget laptop alternatives. Gosh, people don't understand what we mean by we want more professional iPads.
Or Apple doesn't understand, really.
No, they don't. I don't think they understand what they mean by Apple. I don't think they understand what they mean by professional iPad or something. Because we've clearly seen the hardware team go off in weird directions trying to turn it into a laptop. And then the software team think they're doing something professional, but clearly they don't use Macs. Because if they use Macs, they might understand, hey, this isn't that professional of an application.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why I keep telling everyone, if you need a new iPad, don't even get this year's iPad. Don't even get last year's iPad. Get the year before. Save yourself money, because buying an iPad brand new the way it is today, it's not worth it.
Elias from Meowtech YT would have to agree with you.
It's just not worth it. I'm sorry. The software. This is the biggest rant that so many Apple fans have been complaining to Microsoft and Google. Google with the Pixelbook. Why did the Pixelbook fail? They dumped all of their R&D and budgeting into the hardware of the device, but they didn't give it crap for software. That's why that device failed. Same with the Pixel Slate. They dumped a bunch of money into that thing, and it did not do so well. Why? Software. Why did I leave Windows?
Because they dumped it all. Because they dumped all the money onto the software, not the hardware, or on the hardware, not the software.
Yeah, that's why I stopped buying PCs.
That's why I stopped buying PCs too.
Yep. I didn't even pay for my last one.
I don't even buy Windows. I don't even buy PCs for my collection. That's how much I hate Windows.
They are just not worth it. Because, the hardware can arguably be great. Like, technically, my XPS has a better cooling system than my MacBook. But the software on it's garbage. In fact, it has overheated itself in sleep mode to the point where it had to shut itself down.
In sleep mode.
It actually overheated itself in sleep mode. This is how broken sleep mode is in Windows. My laptop overheated itself and shut itself down because of it.
I guess when that one Get Mac ad when they were parodying Santa Claus is coming, when the Mac and PC were singing a parody of Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yeah.
I think the Mac said, "We'll see you," or the PC said, "You'll see you when you're in sleep mode." Because the PC's always in sleep mode to the point where it shuts itself off.
Oh gosh. I need to get back and doing the skits again. Like, in my next episode of Get a Mac or something like this, I've been trying to do my own versions of the Get a Mac in the modern day sense. That's probably what I'm going to use now. Because sleep mode is actually that broken. I'm not the only one who's had to report my laptop overheating and shutting itself down in sleep mode.
I kind of want to do a modern Get a Mac ad too.
Yeah,
I
gotta figure out how to use my blue screen now.
For tomorrow's video. That's not what I have plans for tomorrow's video.
Yeah, I gotta do that skit because I miss doing the skits. It's just I don't have the time nor the energy, and I put it all towards, sadly, now the Drive channel.
Yeah, I subscribe to the Drive channel. Just at this point, the place where I see the most is the Drive channel.
Yeah, to me, that's where all the exciting news is now.
Well, I'm debating whether we should cover this one automotive topic, since if we did, we would probably drive onto a whole tangent that would last for another hour.
As per usual.
But my dad has been Ford has already debuted the 2024 race standard Mustang in the sedan and the classic sports car form factor. But they have not unveiled a 2024 Mustang Mach-E yet. And there's an engineer at Ford that has stated that Ford is quietly killing off the Mach-E. So what do you think this means? So are you getting the picture?
Oh dear.
Yep, the Mach-E is finally going to be going away.
Truth is, it's actually a really great vehicle.
It is, but the problem is that it's just misbranded.
True.
Because the Mustang is just an iconic sports car brand. It's not an SUV. The Mustang still should go electric. In fact, I'm sure that's what Ford's probably working on.
Mm-hmm.
But it should not. And Ford should still have an electric SUV, like they should have an electric Explorer, but they do not need.
They're bringing they're turning the Explorer electric in Europe first. Except they're doing the same thing that Acura is doing with the ZDX. They've called up Volkswagen, and the Explorer in Europe that's all electric, it's based off of Volkswagen's MEB platform. It's kind of weird.
Oh, well. Alright, so I guess that's one exciting bit of EV news that I have, but otherwise...
Yeah, actually, I've been debating about doing something because despite that, my local Ford dealer has to be one of the worst. They have a full lot right now of pickup trucks because nobody's buying them. But they also got a few other vehicles of interest on the lot as well.
You're going to go test drive them, aren't you?
I've been debating because they've currently got 2 Mach-E's on the lot plus an F-150 Lightning.
My grandparents used to go to one of their local car dealerships. Well, still one of my local car dealerships all the time, and just test drive out cars. They went to a Chrysler dealership.
I would never buy Chryslers. I'm sorry.
Oh, and I sort of figured out why they're getting, and I figured out why Chrysler is ditching the 300. And it's not entirely because they just want to make big vehicles.
Let me guess, it's not that popular anymore?
No, it's actually still pretty popular, but my reasoning is Chrysler seems to be doing a vehicle restructuring strategy where they're changing the brands to, they're not necessarily changing the brands, but they're making the brands more specific just to one type of vehicle. Dodge, all they make now is sports cars. Ram makes now is trucks. All Chrysler makes now is minivans. And
I love the Pacific, I'm not gonna lie.
And all Jeep is making is off-roading vehicles now. And the Jeep Grand Cherokee, though, that is technically sort of an off-roading vehicle too.
I suppose they are kind of leaning into those niches. Meanwhile, I'm still trying to figure out the difference between a Buick and a GMC SUV. Other than slight design characteristics.
I personally don't. I know I've said this before, but I just don't get the point of GMC because GMC is still mostly an economy class. With GMC, I just don't like GMC because GMC is still such a low economy class brand to the point where we might as well just buy a Chevy.
They're actually not that low when you take a closer look at it.
There.
Like, I recently watched a comparison where they compared the Sierra versus the Silverado. And the Sierra overall, despite that they share many mechanical components, the same mechanical components under the hood, the GMC is a nicer truck. And it's got more technological equipment as well.
Yeah, but the Sierra... You know what the Sierra also has a big problem with that you even mentioned?
It's too big.
Yes.
That's a problem with all trucks. They're all too big.
Except for the Ford Ranger and the Chevy Colorado.
Yeah, true. Those are a decent size, but all the full-size pickup trucks, they're not full-size anymore. They're now oversized.
I think the F-150 is still mostly a reasonable size from the road. But I think
try standing right next to one. They're still just as big as the other trucks.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been debating about going to test drive the Mustang Mach-E, despite that. Oh, we all know me and Ford seats.
Oh, maybe you shouldn't then.
I mean, I'll give it I'd like to give it a shot, see if they change the engineering of it, but because I haven't technically sat in it, but yeah, I've wanted to test drive something electric for a long time. That's because the only electric vehicles I've driven is my hybrid.
I understand. Do you have any local dealerships that sell Teslas?
Well, for one, Tesla's not a dealership. They don't have any dealerships.
I meant to use Teslas, because you could realistically go test drive one of those out.
I'd have to go all the way to Madison, Wisconsin, or St. Paul, Minnesota.
Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah, typically you don't find Teslas at dealer lots. Dealers do not like to take them.
Why not?
Because they don't want to sell them. Or they don't want to try to sell them.
Why not?
Well, for one, they're not as familiar with the cars themselves, because when you compare a gas car to a Tesla, because keep in mind, most brands out there, they're still selling mostly gas cars. They are two completely different vehicles in the way you drive and you take care of them and how they function. So as a result, to the dealers, this is alien technology.
They'll have to adapt to it, though.
Yeah, they're going to have to. I mean, all the dealers, no, all the brands are claiming they're going to go all electric by 2030 or something like that. Which, I mean, if they want to, that's fine with them. Though personally, I'd rather a healthy 50-50 mix. Because I'm all in favor of options. I believe you should be able to choose whether you want a gas car or an electric car.
I think gas cars are obsolete.
Except in the heavy-duty industry.
Yeah, like farm equipment, gas still isn't obsolete, but in most other industries, gas is obsolete.
Yeah, passenger vehicles, to me, electric is just better. Light-duty trucks, this even includes the F-150. Nobody uses the F-150 for towing heavy things and all that, or towing long distance. In fact, nobody uses any of their full-size trucks to do that stuff anyways. They treat them exactly like how I treat my car. It's the commuter to work. It's what I take to go shopping. It's what I take on road trips for great fuel efficiency.
Even when my dad owned his F-150, or his second F-150, he very rarely did hauling with it. He occasionally hauled stuff with it when he needed to, but he mostly just used it as a commuter vehicle, and even then it wasn't his main one.
Yeah, that, and also I keep thinking, if you're going to buy a truck because, I don't do it all the time, but I occasionally haul stuff in the bed. If it's really occasional and so infrequent,
just buy something like a Ranger.
That, or maybe just rent the truck. Rather than pay, how much do they cost now? A stupidly ridiculous amount of money, because basically it doesn't matter what truck you buy, new or used even, they're all way more expensive than they should be. Instead of paying all that money for something that you're hardly ever going to take advantage of, why not just rent one for a day? When you do need it. And you do need to take advantage of that stuff that a truck is capable of.
That's what my dad does whenever he needs a pickup truck.
That's what I would do.
Though he still wants to get another one someday. When I grow up and I have enough money to choose my own vehicles, when money isn't really a big concern, I have sort of an idea for how I'm gonna do for what vehicles I'm considering. for my commuter I would either get a sedan I would probably get a sedan just for hauling my family around, just because or a good size sedan, just because that's practical, because it's cheaper than an SUV. But I would also get a pickup truck, like maybe a Ranger size pickup or an F-150 or something like that, just in case I need to carry something heavy, like let's say a bike, for example, or also if I need to haul something.
Well, here's a suggestion about a bike. If you were to carry a bike around, say, like that's your heavy example, you can technically get bike racks for sedans.
You can do that by a lot of times when I'm taking my bike places, though, it's often because my bike is broken, so I'm taking it to the bike repair shop.
This just reminded me of something hilarious I saw on my way back from Copper Harbor. I can't believe I saw this, but I saw a Tesla Model S towing a camper.
They can do it.
No! This is the Model S. This is a sedan. It's not meant for towing that type of heavy stuff. And yet this camper was towing. It was huge.
Maybe I should tell my dad about the towing capacity. That since he might want, since maybe he should, since now it makes me kind of curious how much can not only my Mercedes tow, but also how much his M6 can tow. Because the M6 is not much less powerful than the Model S.
Well, when it comes to towing, actually, it's not really all about power. That's a big factor of it, but it's not all about it. A lot of it is chassis rigidity. Wheelbase has an effect on it too, and gearing ratios. There's a lot more that goes into towing ratings than just power.
To be fair,
I also have to mention braking power. Yeah, you need power to pull the trailer, but you also need the stopping power to stop it.
That's a good point.
So, yeah, to me, I thought it was crazy seeing that Model S tow that camper, because those things are not designed for doing that type of stuff.
Yeah, for towing, I won't even get a pickup truck just for towing, just because I know that's not what I need. I know because if everything's going to be all electric by 2030, then a lot of cars will be capable of just hauling a big amount of pretty hefty load anyway.
Well, another interesting thing, too, is with an electric car, because they don't have to make room for all of the engine components and the drive shafts and all that, it allows them to repackage the interior so that way, like, Tesla Model 3 is a mid-size sedan. Technically, it feels like a full-size sedan because due to the repackaging abilities, the cabin is much larger than your standard gas full mid-size sedan. The trunk is larger because, again, same deal. Maybe it will allow me to buy a smaller vehicle than my car because I still own like the biggest modern sedan you could buy today.
The only thing that I would buy a truck for is if I needed to carry something like a TV and didn't necessarily want to do it in the backseat of my sedan, or if I needed to carry, or if I was, or let's say maybe I went to go pick up an old Mac Pro, for example.
I would take a sedan for a Mac Pro and keep it in a secure trunk.
Okay, that's actually a good idea, but. Well, what if I was
I wanted to say, why would you put a Mac Pro in the bed?
That's a bad example, but what if I bought a big lot of vintage Macs or CRT TVs and needed a place to carry them all?
I still want to put it in the bed because that's a rough environment to store them in.
What if it's the only way I can get them home, though?
I guess just drive careful, which is hard to do with drivers nowadays.
Oh yes, you don't even have to tell. You don't even have to tell me about that.
I was driving home today, and there was one guy taking up both of the lanes on M26. Yep. Both of the lanes. You couldn't pass them because then you get in the turn lane to go to Walmart. And...
Did you honk at him?
Oh, I wasn't the only one.
That guy was probably drunk or on drugs or texting. Or
well, he was able to spot a cop pulling out of the gas station and get back into choosing a lane. He was able to spot a cop pulling out of the gas station, and he picked a lane, finally.
That's a little too late.
Yeah. Cop didn't pull him over, though.
There's somebody that... I guess that's because he fixed the mistake.
Yeah. Just... drivers. They drive me nuts.
My grandmother knew somebody who the person in front of her was driving past a stop sign. He just rolled right through the stop sign, but he didn't realize that the person right behind him was a policeman. Guess what? It's almost impossible to imagine what happened next.
I'm still waiting for the day like I see a convenient cop. I'm still waiting for the day I see a convenient cop. Hey, editor Alpha DeWolf here. Yeah, we said some stuff, and you guys are not allowed to hear this stuff. And this right here is where the stuff used to be. All right. Now that stuff has been said, back to the show.
All right. Do you have anything else you want to talk about, or do you just want to end the show here? Because I actually have a method to try out for my video tomorrow.
A method?
It's a jailbreak tweak.
I mean, I can't think of anything else other than to any of you who are subscribed to my Drive channel, thanks for 200 subs.
I'm one of them.
Yeah, thanks. I hope you enjoyed my road trip video to Copper Harbor.
I did.
That took a long time to get up there.
Sure it did. As always, thank you all for watching another episode of the iTunes Fanboy Podcast. As always, I am the host, Teddy Maggert from the iTunes Fanboy.
My name is Alpha DeWolf from the Random Alpha.
And we are saying goodbye for now, when hopefully the next episode will be Full House again. Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.